Possession is 9/10 of the law, and our guest tonight defined that upon his return to Major League Wrestling. More on that tonight on Ring Respect Radio. And boom, just like that, it's Thursday night, and you all know what that means. It's party time with us. We're the Video Bros. I'm Bobby Munson, and on the far side of your screen, that's the man with the angelic voice. He's Papa Smokes. Papa Smokes, happy Thursday. How you doing, brother?
Woo, happy Thursday indeed. I'm doing great, Bobby Munson. Always happy to be here on Ring Respect Radio, and especially happy this Thursday to have the return of a guest. I enjoyed interviewing so much last time. Why don't you introduce us to our esteemed guest, Munson?
I will, very much so. Right in the middle of your screen, he is a rising indie wrestling star and a good friend of ours right here. This is Tristan Tai, a.k.a. Ikuro Kwan, for all those that watch on MLW. Welcome back. Glad to have you here. Really appreciate you doing this tonight.
Thank you, guys, man. No, this is great. I said we were talking off air about it's been 3 years since we did our last thing, so that's a long time, So it's a good day. It's a good day to do this.
Very happy to be doing this. It's going to be a lot of fun. Speaking of which, it has been a few years, so I want to know, at least for our audience, because we've followed you online, we've kept up with as much as we can find and stuff like that. But in those 3 years, what has changed for you in terms of life and getting prepared for the journey you've taken so far in professional wrestling?
Yeah, so man, wrestling wise, back with MLW. This is and well, I'm sure we'll get into it. This is a different layer. This is a different level now, and things are starting to connect in ways that were more so questions the last time we talked, and now that I found answers to those questions. So a lot of cool things have been going on. Made my CMLL debut since I've been with you guys, and then went back, which was great. So 2 tours in CMLL, which was unbelievable. Still tagging and doing big things with my partner Gabe Sky, and now we're in a little bit of a unit right now over in ETU over in New Jersey. And I think we will be traveling soon, but New Jersey right now is where we're based out of, over at the Mecca in Ridgefield. And myself, Gabriel Sky, Matt Mako, Mikowski, you guys know him, the Austin Luke, and the Price City OG, Alec Price. We are a 5-headed monster right now, taking over ETU. So, whether it's Contra, whether it's Above the Rest, whether it's ETU with the expected, it's people seem to gravitate towards me when they want to get things done, and I think that's pretty, So I like that. On a real life tip, I bought my first house since we've been with you guys, since I saw you guys, and then me and my wife had a baby in January.
Big congrats!
Yeah, I got a baby.
January girl. Baby too. What day was the day?
January 5th.
Nice.
Yeah, January 5th. Yeah, and so that's a whole new thing. So things are going good, but it's more so the where I'm like things that I've tried to envision now, just picking up more lessons and ways to turn those into real things. So it's nice to see, the fruits of your labor and meeting so many really good people along the way. Got to meet a lot of great people. So I'm excited to talk about anything and everything today, man.
Fantastic. How about how have you trained differently or prepared yourself differently, studied differently for this journey of professional wrestling since the last time we chatted? What has changed in your regimen that has gotten you to where you are right now?
it's recognizing who I am there, and I think a lot of that comes down to not worrying if you're wrong or not, and understanding this is always going to be a subjective art form. There is no one way of it. So before, it's kind of like, I think like any artist, you like stand up comedy, it's like you watch Eddie Murphy, so then you kind of start doing jokes like him, and then it's like, okay, well now I got to do my own thing. Or you start like acting like, well, oh, I love Leonardo DiCaprio, so I'm gonna watch all of his movies and I like his nuances. So, and then you start to, so I think that's when we first started, it was very much me still being that or that initial sponge of like, whatever you say, I'm gonna do it exactly how you say it. And that got me let go, right? Like that you hear like people like make a thing out of it now, like being a good soldier, right? And that stuff. But now it's understanding who the Ikuro Kwan character is, who I am in a real life sense, that mirrors that. And I think in a lot of ways I'm especially in the Ikuro Kwan, I'm the assassin that went rogue. I'm the one that is disciplined in art form of martial arts, but he will also not show mercy, and he doesn't care what you have at home. He doesn't care what you stand for. That's the difference of it all. I can't be told what to do, which is dangerous in that sense now. So I'm not trying to be the next anything else anymore, or something, or a version of that. Oh, that's recognizable. Now it's, I've never seen that before. Who is that? So it's a harder road. So that's still the same, but now it's specified to where now I have confidence behind it when I speak. There's no, I don't have to think about what I'm going to say next. I'm going to write it in my phone. I know what I'm feeling, and I think that's the difference. That's the flip. Even with my move set in there, and how I do things, not just trying to get bigger and physically and stronger, but also wrestling my way too. And I think that's something that has really developed now, where I wrestled. I didn't change my style for Mexico. I didn't change my style for anyone that I've wrestled. And ever since that I met you, again, that list has still only been the best wrestlers in the world. So like, even so now 3 years more of wrestling the best wrestlers in the world, my style kept up with them. So that's another now. So it's more like an assurance that I'm doing the right thing because I believe in it. And whether it's a road less traveled or not, or if I got to create the blueprint for people to, it's, I know it's correct because it's working out. So that's, it's just but open like I was before if change is needed. I think that, and that's that balance that I try to refresh every day, in every match.
Great answer. We'll go to you in a moment there, Pop Smokes. I know you got a ton of questions. Brian Carter's up in the house. Brian, thank you for joining us here on Ring Respect Radio. Brian, a massive MLW fan, and I think this kind of plays on what we were just talking about a little bit too. But Brian's saying definitely seen an evolution with the direction of MLW over the past several years. What differences do you see now versus the first run with the company?
First run, and it wasn't to any particular person, but it was you show up. I show up a half hour early. Yes sir, no sir, do you need anything? That's what it was. There was no questions. No one had a bad thing to say, but no one had any extra notes to say either. And when you're in a roster with people at that time, MJF, Richard Holiday, Fatu, you know what I mean, like Loki, like, you know what I mean, it's the best. And every single one of the people there is now on television, like major television. So if you don't stand out, you're gonna move to the background. And I'm 5'9" already, so you know what I mean. So, but now, and that's not who I am, right? I would kick myself after. I'm like, man, like you're being a bitch, man. You're being a bitch backstage. Like you got to like let them know who you, right? So now I don't shut up, but respectfully, we're like, now the difference is, it's not yes sir, no sir. It's, hey, I don't like this. I'm gonna do this instead, and trust me. And you know, I mean, that's what it is. Like I have never fumbled a bag or an opportunity. Except for the first run where I didn't take it. This time I'm taking it. You know, like, and it's just a matter of, again, being the blueprint of it. where a lot of other things that have been done are easy to follow and replicate. But this one, I'm the first wrestler in America to take Mystico's mask. I might be the first wrestler ever to take Mystico's mask.
Yeah.
Ever. It just so happened that it was on a different scale in his hometown 3 weeks later. But it's me. Funny enough, we're both from Long Island, so that's kind of fun. It's like Long Island versus Mystico. But like that's, you know what I mean? Like that's severe. I stole the middleweight championship from him. I went in there and said, and I went into Mexico. I went into Mexico City in Arena, Mexico, with my nuts hanging, saying, "Do something about it." To every single person in there, every luchador, every fan. Like I was like, and even I even said it in the press conference that we did at CMLL Informer. I had a mask, I spit on, I stepped on, I said, "Do something." And then like I would never have done that first run. I would have felt all of it, and I would have been mad that I didn't do it. But this time I was like, no, I'm doing it. What are they gonna like? I mean, what's gonna happen, right? And not in a not cocky, but that way that like I got let go and not got the opportunities I thought that I could have earned because I didn't do what I knew I should have done. Now I'm doing what I should have done. If anything in a negative turn comes from that, and I know that I did it genuine, it's not going to be a negative. It's a tell sign of like, okay, well, how maybe I can modify this, or maybe that chapter was supposed to close when it did. This is a different one where like even the second time coming to CMLL, they asked for me. That's a different thing too. Forget being the first Korean American in the Grand Prix ever. Being like meeting the Mexican, the Mexican president, like the Korean ambassador, like that, like the real Korean ambassador came to see me to represent his country, and I was just like, and it was bad when I didn't speak Korean, but it was the simple fact that like I'm not next to these people for no reason. There's a picture. It's me, Yoda, Davey Boy Smith, Claudio Castagnoli, Akira, Kyle Fletcher, Robbie X, and Rocky Romero and Mansoor. There's no one gets on that by accident. So that right there is because I spoke up. And so every other thing that's happened since then is because I speak up. And I said this the first time with this one, I'm the only, and I will say that, I mean, if anyone wants to challenge it, they can, because I might be wrong, but like I'm the only Asian American wrestler on a high platform who does what I do the way that I do it. You're never going to see someone that looks like me barking in the camera like that. You're never going to see, you know what I mean? Like it's a different, and it's not a show out to anything, but it's just I am one of one, and I need to show that value because I know how valuable it can be. There's never been a promotion that's had this before. MLW understood what I could bring to the table. They watched me when they let me go for those last 3 years, and they said, "Okay, this is the one that we want now. Now here's the ball. Now go." And I haven't looked back, but at the same time, like the last time before, is that's that consistent fire on your ass. That's like, you know what that felt like. You know how you felt like, and you know how you got there. Don't ever get to that point. So thank you, Mr. Brian Carter, because I always love being able to talk about that part of my career, because I think if people understand that, getting Mike time to talk about that, it's not, getting over, but that's the part that separates me from every single wrestler on the planet, respectfully, is how I look at my opportunity and what I can bring to the table in terms of numbers, in terms of fanfare, in terms of like just revenue in general. I know that. And it's just kind of give me the chance. MLW is giving me a chance. Anytime I see a camera, every time I see a microphone, I'm grabbing it and I'm saying something. I don't even care if it makes sense. You know by now, if you didn't watch the last time, I love to talk. So let me do it. You know?
Yeah, I'm glad they're letting you run with it and do more talking this time around. Hello to Astrid joining us in the chat. Thank you for coming in. And Papa Smokes, I'm going to go over to you, sir. You've been a little too quiet for the last 14 minutes.
Just been absorbing all of this. Brian's question was so good, and it was something proud for me to watch you get so much better in those years since we watched you on MLW in that first run. You could see that things were a bit tentative. You could see that you were newer to the business and just kind of like trying to do what everybody said. This time, a lot different. And doesn't 3 years in the wrestling business on the indies make a difference to that? Felt so proud to see you come out, get some time to talk. They gave you a better platform and a better spot to work from. and you just hit it out of the park with all that stuff. Spitting the mist in Cesar Duran's face, stealing the title, battles with luchadors, going down to CMLL. It's just, as a fan, it's been a huge pleasure for me to see a nice guy and a good wrestler like you come along and mature along the journey and just get back to a spot where it's not where you started in MLW, but it's where you got one of your first big breaks. Come back and look like a different wrestler, a much more confident wrestler. It's very pleasurable for me.
No, thank you. No, thank you. Because that's why I always like. I don't know if I could have answered you quick enough when I got hit up to do this, because it's really something where I think I posted it a while before. I said, the discouraging part about the social media life is like, even if you know how fabricated and like systematic it can be, it does affect your psyche sometimes when you know that, even though you know that part of the commercialism of that is your job. And if that part isn't great, that means you're not great at your job sometimes. So when I put something out that means a lot to me, like a highlight video or a shout out or a picture, and it's 5 likes, 6 likes, you guys being one of them, and then you scroll and you see someone talking about some bullshit, 8,000 likes, retweets, and it's like what am I doing wrong? Because I can't see myself doing that. So then it's just going back to the you know what to do, because when you do it, it works. So stick to your lane and do it. Half of the things that I've already done are on people's bucket list who have been doing this twice as long as me, who are 10 years older than me. In a year, first Korean in CMLL and first Korean represented in the Grand Prix, made my CMLL debut at the Grand Prix and wrestled for a week straight. Came back a week after that. Literally, like, got off the plane from Mexico, went home to Florida to wash my gear, went to Chicago, and then went to New York, and then went and won the tag titles with Suzuki. Like, you talk about from a year ago, I'm doing dark matches and losing in 3 minutes. Like, it's just getting the chance for it, right? So yeah, doing things differently in that way. And now technically, I'm calling myself the middleweight champion. They can say what they want. I'm halfway to being a Grand Slam champion in MLW in like a year. So it's like, is that the goal? I mean, like, let me do all of it. But again, like, it all comes down to this run being personal. Maybe it could be more so personal, but not bitter. I think that's such a hard thing that I think that to get across, that like fans sometimes can misconstrue it. Even like, the boys, like, it's not bitterness. It's just trying to wrap your head around the situation so you can know how to maneuver it. And it's like breaking it down, like in like almost like a Venn diagram type situation, trying to like figure out like how you can separate elements of this, because there's so many layers that if you take it on as a whole, it's like you'll never be happy, because there's so many pockets that are so different, but they have a significant role in this thing. So I don't know what the question was, but I think
it's all good. What I will bring up is the MLW Opera Cup is around the corner. You're in for the third time, I believe this is third time in your career so far.
Yeah.
So great opportunity, and your first opponent so happens to be Mystico. You've taken his mask, you've claimed the belt that is now officially yours. Even will put a stamp on it. You're officially the middleweight champion, whether they like it or not. Are you going to take the ML Cup dreams away from Mystico while you're at it as well too, and then put that stamp on that title?
I just have to care about winning the cup more than I want him to lose the match.
Great answer. Very good answer.
Because that's when you want to embarrass them, and that's when you screw up. That's when he's down, and I'm like, yeah, watch this shooting star, and then I break my neck, and then I'm like, yeah, and I'm like, now, and then I'm looking at the lights, like, why would I do that when his face was right there to kick? So it's not, again, like as I said, like in Mexico or whoever, it's not changing your style. My style is for everyone. My style is beat you the fuck up. My style is beat shit down your leg. That's my style. It doesn't matter. Like, I'm a technical. No, I'm gonna kick you in the face. I'm going to punch you in your liver because I know where it is. You can't. Most people can't do that. I know exactly where I'm hitting and why. Everybody like, why did he hit him on the side of the knee? I just shut off the blood flow to your leg. I know where I hit. Why is he punching me in the stomach? Why am I punching him in the stomach? Because now you can't breathe. And now I'm gonna put a chokehold on you, and now we're gonna watch you. Yeah, I mean, like if I want it to be exciting, I'll make it exciting. But also at the same time, pay me to make it exciting. If you want to pay something, if you want me, and in that respect. So again, still going back to that first, like I'm doing it. I know what I'm doing, and even saying it with you guys now, it's still affirmation for myself to do that. Like this is part of what I do all day, and it's not in a cocky sense. It's the sense. I think maybe it's a father thing too, because I think about that now, like with my daughter, of like how I want to live like for her, but also how I want her to live not for me at the same time. Like I want her to have value. I want her to understand that, like, from the simple fact of where like things like beautiful, things like intelligent, things like that stuff that can sometimes trick people into thinking that other people find value in them. I want her to have those understand that those attributes and those compliments are synonymous with her name. They're not telling her anything she doesn't know. What else are you bringing to the table? Beautiful, beautiful, smart, go get all of that. Yeah, that's just who you are. That's not a compliment. You're not going to tell me that I can, that I'm good on my feet. Like that's just who I am. I don't try to do it. She doesn't have to try to be beautiful. She doesn't have to try to be intelligent. She doesn't have to try to be kind. That's who she is. And and if she can grow like that, that makes her automatically a step ahead, because now she's already seen things from a different, viewpoint, which is exactly how I look at wrestling now, which is it is to celebrate the different, but also be aware of where you are in it, because we're all born in this headspace of comparison, right? And because how could you not? I do it all the time. So learning how to kind of check yourself out of it to just focus on building confidence for yourself, telling yourself you're good, not that you're better than anyone, but that you're good, that you're worth, that you have value, and that you're not here by accident. You can't, and I think that's another element to all of this that changes the the success, yeah, but just the energy that I'm trying to bring to everything else in my life is trusting that I'm doing the right thing because I worked hard to find that formula and continue to find it. So that would be my thing. Would be like, I think the father stuff has a lot to do with it now also.
Fair. It is very hard to turn Brian Carter anytime when it comes to professional wrestling, but right here he said you have turned him. I didn't even think about the significance of the match in Mexico, and now he's rooting for Contra and for you in particular as well too. So that's
I mean, no, thank you. Like it's the Mexico thing, man. Like it's my third time in Mexico. Technically, it's the first time in MLW. We went to the Crash, and me, Simon Gotch, and Samuel, we main evented against La Parca, Mecha Wolf, and Bestia 666, which was insane. But the Arena Mexico thing, like you hear, like when Daniel Bryan was talking about it, and just all the other guys that went into it when they did that big show, it was like, man, I've always dreamed about it. And I said, oh, I was there already. Like Lily, like you think like these amazing greats were walking the halls, grateful for the opportunity that I was invited to, handpicked for. It wasn't just a booking; it was, and then again, situationally being able to have pride in being different, right? There aren't a lot of Korean wrestlers. There's not a lot of at least at the level that are being picked to do things like that. Which again, like that used to be my thing, was like, just don't be the Asian wrestler. There's too many of that, right? And celebrating my difference is another level change too, about not hiding from who you are. It's like, yes, that's part of me, but that's not all of me, and it's up to me to show that that's not that. That there is more. So like again, like even being able to flip, Ryan to be like, hey, like okay, like you pointing out some good, some good things. It's true. There's a lot of stuff in Mexico, and there's a lot of CMLL guys in the Opera Cup this year. So I'll probably be wrestling a bunch of them. I'm not saying I'm looking past Mystico already, but if I don't beat him, he won't be able to compete. I'm gonna leave it like that. I mean that's how I feel.
Okay.
Because he's also overlooking me. All of a sudden, I want the MLW title, and now he wants to have an elbow injury, wrestle the next night, and then also like say, "Oh no, I'm moving up to heavyweight." You don't get to exit like that. I'm gonna make you exit. You know what I mean? Like that's all it's gonna be. Like it's just like there's like I'm the only. I said this too. I'm the only true middleweight. I wrestled super heavyweights every single night. The only time I get to wrestle someone my size was Ikuro, and we're kind of tied 1-1. And I don't want to see that like psycho again. So like that's I'm fine with the tie. You know.
Yeah. Enough said, right?
Yeah.
All right. Papa Smoke's itching for another question. I know you are.
For sure. We know from the last time we spoke that you're from the dojo culture. You used to practice kempo and jiu-jitsu and a couple of other styles and all that. Then when you came to pro wrestling, you were trained up in the Northeast by Kono, and you have a strong relationship with him. You talked about that last time.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted to ask about Minoru Suzuki. That must have been an interesting experience working with that guy. There's a guy straight from the dojo culture right there.
Yeah, it's funny in those locker rooms, right? Like I remember I was talking to my partner Gabe about it, but like I'll walk into the locker room and it's funny where all of my, I guess like friends are on one side, like all the guys that kind of came up with like just knowing the indies and things, and then all the Japanese wrestlers are on the other side, and it's like Kushida, Kojima, Akamura, Suzuki, Kenta. And I remember even at the last show in New York, like Okada was there backstage. Like it was just like, I'm like, damn, like, I met all, I met him and talking, but it's hard. Like the language barrier is hard. So what really helped, because the first match, it was kind of like, I'll do the, I'll work with you because they told me to, it's like, okay, I see all right, I get it. Right. Hail concert, whatever. Then we worked together. And then he understood that I'm serious, that I respect him, but I am not I'm not a young boy, not out of disrespect. I'm not a young boy because I didn't grow up into that. My way of showing respect is like, hey, like, thank you for the match. Let me, I'll get a drink from me and him and ask him advice. Sit down, give him the seat. Every deal, ask him if everything's good. Getting in the van to go to the hotel, I'll pick your bag up, like what I'm saying. But like I would do that for anybody. I've done that. I've done that for Dijak. I've done that for Paul London. Like, I've done that for I've done it for Gabe when he's on the phone with on the phone with somebody. Like that. Like I just I don't count favors with that. But I think that him seeing that, maybe it's a dojo thing where it's kind of like, the respect comes from just the energy that you come off with and how you carry yourself. He's someone that doesn't, take any he doesn't move unless he wants to. So automatically, even with that job or not, he could have said no to it. And so earning that yes from him, earning that side talk where it doesn't have to be set like necessarily conversational. I sometimes I wish that it could be. And maybe I'll learn some Japanese and stuff. It's not that he doesn't speak English, but like to have that real like heart to heart, or how I like to talk about things. It doesn't get to that depth, but it does on an energy sense of like, I appreciate you. You appreciate me. I'm always going to make sure that you look good, and I'm always going to give you my best. And I'm never going to feel like you can't tell me anything, or that I'm not itching to learn from you in any way, shape, or form. And not because you're supposed to ask the OGs for something. No, it's because I respect your body of work, and I know that you see things that I don't. And I want to be held in a regard where you get flown across the world all the time to do this craft. Like that's in your 50s where like you can just chill, but there's a love for it and there's a consistent need for it. That's why you're going to all these places. So it's like, that's what I want to get to. Like I said, the longevity of it. Yeah, it's cool to main event this, and this, but I want to know how to make like, serious income and opportunities with it. MJF just did Happy Gilmore too. Like there's more to this. Not that wrestling isn't the ultimate, but I understand that this is something that can develop into a better life for everyone that is important to me, and those 6 people that said I could do it, right? Like it comes back to that too. So
has there ever been any consideration for Gabe in MLW teaming up with you? Has that ever been talked about?
I would love it. I would love it, knowing because they don't have tag teams like that. We're like, again, like now maybe I'll be cocky, even though I think it's a fact. We're one of the best tag teams on the planet. Like we are. Like there's no, like, you're never gonna watch a match. And that's the thing too. My boy Jack Solomon, you guys should follow him, Iron Jack Solomon. He was on a podcast and he mentioned too, he was like, the weird thing about us is that not a lot, like, people don't really know us because we don't tag like that. We don't advertise as a tag that in that way. But every time we wrestle, people are like, I'm supposed to know who these guys are. Like it's never like oh, these guys are nice. It's like this, like, what? Where are these guys going? And our finishing move is, again, the best tag team finisher on the planet. Getting that on MLW television would be monumental, and we would be the best tag team champions in the world. Maybe we'll wait till Dijak and
Bishop
Dyer like drop them first. My back hurts thinking about that. Just
some big boys to take on right there.
Yeah, but at the same time, too, I joke because we obviously wouldn't be afraid of that at all. I would be just 7 foot laid to rest, But no, like I would absolutely love it. I love that he's his own person at the same time, and I think that's what's cool. It's almost like a 2-man power trip. Like when we do come together, it's not just a tag team; it's 2 monsters that are so in sync, and they live now on opposite ends of the coast. We have chemistry like we live together. That's what I know exactly what he's thinking, and I tag with him like 4 times a year now, and we know exactly what we are, exactly what each other are thinking. It's always perfect. But he's doing his own thing. I think that the stars are meant to align. I just love like the way that I try to not even influence them, but anytime I hear anything substantial that I think is like helpful, I call him right away. Just because I want him to always be on that headspace of what's meant to be will be, and you're meant to be great. I'm meant to be great. So if that's the case, then don't rush it because it's going to happen. It's just, so be patient. And, and it's something that he has really dove into, because now he's doing all the like the no fear, like the no fear, no ring. He's like a deathmatch champion. Like he's crazy. He'll probably fight Ikuro before I do again.
Be right into it.
But he's also one of the most polished wrestlers I've ever seen, in the world. So it's just, there's just so much volume. there's so much content that it really is like kind of trying to cut through the tall grass. The benefit is that we've been in the grass for a while, so it's just like, we know the terrain a little more. So it's just us just not giving up. Like people will tell you. I mean, I'm sure even in like the podcast industry too. Like I'm sure like you have even on the come up when you guys started. Like there's so many people that now that don't do this anymore because they burnt themselves out. And with wrestling too, I think like I was the first student when I first started, but I want to say like there's been like 30 people that have come and gone who I thought were gonna even like coming up through and like people are like, oh, these are the guys, and then like you'll casually see them on Instagram and be like, oh, you just do regular stuff. And like that was just a phase. I can never think of this as a phase, we get not taking shots, but everyone's meant, but it wasn't meant to be. And I think that's another tell sign. If you're still doing it at a level where it's respectable, it was meant to be, So I hope Gabe comes, but I also hope that he gets signed somewhere else at the same time, because I want him to be his own brand. I want him, as he builds his family, as he builds his legacy, it's going to be his own name brand. I don't want it to ever be. And then same thing with him too. Like on the flip side, I never want to be wrestling as like Gabe Sky and his boy or Ikuro Kwan. I never want it to be like that. I want it to be like, I don't know which name to put first. Like that's how kind of like that's how I want it always to be with us. So
no, great answer. I also want to know what's the difference been since last time, because last time MLW was still running pre-taped, making episodes of Fusion from doing the tapings of the live events. How has that changed now that they go live with YouTube, knowing that that's going out to the worldwide audience and having a little bit more impact in that sense?
I think it's better because of the roster that we have and the drive to make our own lane with it. It's not about like, oh well, what's TNA doing? What's Ring of Honor? Now it's like, no, like we acknowledge, but we're doing our own thing. I think that there was a time where the shows were like, okay, like who got, it's almost like if you're not sure who got released, and you know who to, you know what to check out, right? But now it's things that I consider myself a homegrown MLW talent, where it's like now we're getting platforms to wrestle legit, you know, like historic and continuing like making legacy type names, but in a way where we're becoming our own show again. That's not just digestible, but it's different. Uh, the introduction to even having like Paul Walter Hauser with us and him having a film understanding of just the market and all of those things, ticket sales, venues, promotion. He promotes MLW wherever he goes. He was just on like Jimmy Kimmel last night. He'll like that type of exposure and that type of true engagement is massive for us, because it brings again different eyes, like how you were saying before we got on about the other show you're doing at the game, where it's like it's a different crowd, but you want that. That's how you expand, because you never know if one of those people is an investor. If one of those people knows someone who likes wrestling, one of those, hey, by the way, my friend has this building. It's really cool. You know, you never know like what becomes of that, and I think that the YouTube is just so much better than like trying to figure out what channel it's on if it's not on one of the channels. And YouTube TV also with a lot of like, because I know a lot of comedy specials came out too. It's not. It's I don't want to say the word respectable, but like it's a understood and respected like space for content now. It's not the same like, oh, on YouTube, because it's like to us we're used to YouTube, like Charlie bit my finger, like on YouTube, right? Like my little cousin's on YouTube. No, it's YouTube Live. It's an active show. It's a show. Mm-hmm. TNA does it like it's a show now, but you can watch it. You don't got to pay for it. And what's better than that in a world where everything has an app and there's still wrestling on every day?
Oh yeah.
You know? So we don't do as many tapings, but we still do tapings once in a while, in addition to live show.
Yeah. Great answer, Bob Smokes. Heading back over to you.
Yeah, kind of building on what we were just talking about MLW, it seems like in the wrestling world that a lot of people have that notion that MLW is kind of like a stepping stone along the way for people to come between the indies and then trying to either get signed or get shots with one of the big companies on TV.
Yeah.
But not so many people think of it as a home territory. But I was wondering what your thoughts were about that, especially on this second run where it seems like they've welcomed you in and given you a bigger platform this time.
Yeah, I think also I look at, again, the big picture of it is what makes it a top tier. The production value, the attention to detail, the staffing, the separation of crews and people understanding their positions and their jobs, the quality of the locker room, in the quality in the sense where there's men and women who I have extreme respect for on the context of their work, obviously, but how they do business. And if they're there, there's a good reason for it. There's a good reason why when MJF came back that one time. There's a good reason why Bischoff has made his run. JBL has made an appearance. Mark Henry has been there with us. Teddy Long. Like there's a reason why legitimate people who matter. Rob Van Dam, who matter, who look at those three letters, who look at what we provide as, no, this is legitimate, and this is a goal for a lot of people. I think that anywhere you go is a stepping stone, and you don't have to look at it stepping stone as a bad thing. Almost like you don't have to look at selfish as a bad thing. People only know bad, selfish people, but if you don't put yourself first, you can't be there for your family. So you have to be selfish. If you don't put yourself first, then how are you gonna be able to guide others to do the same, or encourage others to do the same, or speak with conviction if you don't do that? So you have to be selfish. It's just there's levels to it. So even like with the networking of trying to run the show, the venues that we go to, the cities, the cross promotion, doing business with CMLL, even with the Grand Prix, doing business with AEW, business with Rev Pro as a whole, of just like, hey, we're all going to use our guys, we're all going to benefit from this, because it's not about everyone versus WWE, everyone versus no, it's just we're all different flavors, and that's okay. So yeah, the quality of wrestlers make it not a stepping stone. Like this house, I was saying it's my first house. It's a stepping stone to my next house. But that doesn't mean I'm not enjoying what's going on. This isn't a gigantic moment. It's just why you're supposed to want more. And more doesn't always have to mean moving up. MLW as what it is now, I want MLW to be on network television. I want MLW to have legitimate TV deal, toy deal, video game deal, future merchandise deal. Why? Because if they're making billions, I mean, I'm making millions. So please make it. You know what I mean? But I also love this place because of what I found. I found myself through this place. In between all like the struggling sometimes to get bookings, or trying to understand how to talk to promoters and trying to get your name out there, and moving from New York to Florida, and how difficult that's been to kind of get around. MLW is a place where I get to get hundreds of thousands of views every couple of months, but the content is not only rewatchable, but it's on significant platforms, significant quality, with significant people, and it allows me to have something that is that's mine. I'm learning camera work. When I go to the Indies, I know exactly what to do. I'm not shaken by anything. I was in Arena, Mexico. You know what I mean? You're not going to put me on the spot. You can't tell me, hey, by the way, last minute, you got to do this. I know how things should be run. If I go to, it doesn't mean you need catering, but if I go to a promotion and I see the quality is just not there, the care is not there, I don't need to be there. And that's not cocky. That's just like, why would you? You know what I mean? Like, Kobe doesn't have to play at the park if he doesn't want to. He can. He doesn't have to. He's in the league. Now, I'm not saying, you know what I mean? And it's just having that understanding, and then you trickle that down to your friends. Like, again, telling guys like Gabe, Desmond Cole, like, walk around like your shit doesn't stink, but not how you carry yourself in your conviction on what you say, how you talk, how you when you're out there. It's your space. Being able to be aware of every camera, being aware of every look, every nuance. Like, that's what I learned, because being only in MLW, if I was doing more indies than MLW, I might pick up some bad habits. I don't want to be the best indie wrestler. I want to be the, you know what I mean? Like, I want to be a professional wrestler by professional, I want to, I make, a real living from it. So if I'm only around men and women who make a living doing it, I'm going to learn how to do that. And, that's a thing that I think a lot of people don't understand. Like, people can glorify that. Sometimes some of your favorite indie wrestlers live in their car, respectfully. That's not, when those lights go out, now what? Like, I don't want anyone to be in a rough spot, but it's just like my influences, and why I think MLW matters is because of the quality of every single person from top to bottom who's in there, because they all care and they're all amazing at what they do, and they all don't look at it as a stepping stone to get to another place. They look at it as a elevation point to bring those three letters to greater heights than what it was before. And I think now that that's the majority of like energy, now you're going to see, it's already happening, but now we're really going to see a level change in MLW. So
phenomenal answer.
Oh, yeah.
Bass is in the house. Bass, thanks for joining us. Appreciate you being here as always, brother. Brian always has to hijack with an LS Casino comment, but as the president of the International LS Casino Appreciation Society, he needs to pitch that LS Casino of Prairie Pro Wrestling would make a great next member of Contra Unit.
Hell yeah.
It would be a very dangerous place if LS Casino was let loose into Major League Wrestling. I can guarantee you that. Yeah, we'll show you a little bit of El Asesino after we go off the air here tonight.
Yeah, respectfully, I'm gonna have to respectfully. I might have to wrestle him first. Like that's what I have to do.
Yeah, he's the heel of all heels, man. He's a bad boy.
He's gonna be very, very angry this weekend. We'll talk about that before we wrap up here today. But I do want to mention last time we talked to you was right on the cusp. You were having a go at a certain Samoan werewolf Jacob Fatu at the time, and I gotta know. I mean, this man is elevated to all new heights all of a sudden. He's risen to the top of the world.
He's doing all right.
What part of you wants that opportunity to get in there and slap the taste out of his mouth? Still get back in there and finish what you started with him a few years back.
It's so funny now because of how much good conversation we've had since everything's kind of went down. That was the first thing again. But he was at the end of that run when I'm kind of like beefing with him. It was kind of me learning too late that no, this is the type that I'm supposed to. This is the type of energy I'm supposed to have. So, and I guess being mad and seeing him as like my vehicle to do it, like, oh, okay, well, if I'm angry, I'm going to do it on the biggest star now, like that, you know what I mean? Because whether I kick his ass, I know I'm going to stand up. I know myself. I'm not saying I'm going to kick his ass easily. I'm not dumb, but I know that I don't stay down, and I think that enough. Oh yeah, I'll use your name. Beat me up. I'm gonna stand up. Now people are gonna know that I can hang. Like so, it was like sometimes kind of that energy. But when things started to really, but then he left, and then when he debuted, it was something like seeing like he lost a lot of weight. Like he looks so healthy, and
more dangerous too.
And then letting him do him, and then seeing where they position him, and then now, the last time I haven't talked to him in a little while, but. When I did, he's the same, and I think that's where it gives you hope that you can say he only got here because he's the best one in the family. That's why that's why he's there.
Yeah.
But he's a genuine person who there's not a lot of people who are cut from that type of cloth of just being just straight up. And just honest about who they are and what they want to do, because everyone else is like very like it's like everyone's a gimmick, right? So it's just hard to know exactly who's who in the small amount of time that you're with each other. He's someone where you kind of he makes it known very right away. Sometimes you like it, sometimes you don't, but it's something that like I was so happy for him because he's someone who has earned and deserves everything that he's getting right now. So I have nothing negative to say anymore. Like I'm happy for bro. It's funny, like he's still the same. Like I'm like posting a picture or something and he'll just like write a little comment, like a little like funny comment. I'm like, you're like it's funny because like you think of how busy people are now and just when they do little things like that, it's like, yeah, you're staying, you're keeping your head above water and you're staying humble and you're taking care of your family, which is the only thing he's ever wanted to do.
Yeah. So, absolute mad respect for people like that. Yeah. Also, mad respect for Melville Collins joining us in the chat. Thank you for being here tonight. Bob Smokes, before we get to the top of the hour, any other questions that you have?
Well, I was thinking about one of the interesting stories that I've heard over the years about MLW was on Jim Cornette's podcast some years ago. He was talking about when he had a little run with MLW, doing some commentary, doing a little bit of productions work or whatever. And he talked about Selena De La Renta, who Munson and I have talked about many times on this show as being a very, very talented performer in wrestling and on MLW. And she had talked to Jim Cornette, looking up to a veteran, saying, what do you think I should do? Like, what would be your advice for me at this time in my career? She was young. She was under 25 or something, but was doing really, really good work with MLW. I always thought Cornette's answer was interesting. He said, stay here as long as you can and just work on your shit and perfect your style, perfect all your stuff and your complete persona, so to speak, so that when you do get called up to some other company, they won't change you as much because you've got your shtick down perfectly. I always thought that was really interesting and kind of telling about a company the size of MLW or TNA or something like that. Stay there for a bit and really get your shit together before somebody else comes knocking. Thought that was good advice.
Yeah, no, build a brand so you're undeniable. You know that's incredible
Yeah.
advice. It's like my first match ever for MLW when I got signed in 2019. It was a dark match in Chicago that was called by Jim Cornette. I never heard it, never watched it. I met him that one time, didn't really get to talk to him, and then he left the company after it. And it was just like something that like that's a cool thing, you know. Hopefully, you know, and it's a cool thing to have. But like it's again like generationally too, like that's I actually was talking about this with some of the other guys the other day where it's like it's hard. I used to think that people were lying when they would watch like, oh, you got to watch this match from 1979. I was like, you're lying, like in the way that like you're forcing how great you think this is. And that was the ignorant part of me because understanding the business side where no, these men had to really sell out buildings. So watch why they sold out the building because it's not about the headlock for 10 hours. It's not about the fact that a vertical suplex is now the new was the Canadian destroyer back that it's these people without social media by word of mouth and maybe TV commercial invested sold out these arenas every city they went to. Like Flair and Dusty, like people were like, I gotta go see Flair. Like it was like almost like I gotta go see like Empire Strikes Back. Like I gotta see Flair and Dusty, and like being like, oh, that's that now that's a teachable moment there. Like how do we get there? Because that's still the business. At the end of the day, it's still gates. It's still merchandise. It's still now it's sometimes it's interaction with social media, but like even like someone who I have confided in, someone who I respect just based on just like hustle in that, but someone who understands value in knowing that there's no way you can know it all. And even then, even people that you don't think that you would mesh well with, they know something because you know who they are. In wrestling, you just don't get things. Like you just don't. And for Jim Cornette to be a household name in 2025, technically, in terms of like if you know wrestling, you know the name Jim Cornette, you know who he is, you know what he looks like. And he's been doing this for decades. He grandfathered himself into wrestling because he made himself valuable in the territories. So when WCW came, he made himself. I mean, like he walked what he talked. And I think Selena's doing that for herself, and that's what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to rush to go somewhere where they're going to tell me who I am again. They're going to pick me because I like who you are. MLW originally picked me because of, hey, I like what I think I can make you. Now I flipped it and made my version of what they wanted from me, and now they like it because I knew I was right. So now this is the thing that I'm running with. Now it's transferring over into the indies, and I'm reminding people, but also reintroducing people to this version of me. And I think because I'm few and far between, outside of MLW, it gives me a lot of more time to add to it. So yeah, like that would be my thing where like that advice is golden. Like I feel like you should charge to tell people that story.
Yeah.
Real.
Yeah, for sure. But as we are getting to the top of the hour, we will kind of start to get to wrapping things up unless Pop Smokes any last minute questions before we get to our goodbyes.
No, not really, but what a great conversation and what a good refresher to see you again after all this time, Tristan. It's awesome chat.
Oh man, we're not gonna wait 3 years to do it again. I promise.
Not at all.
Yeah.
No, what my brain was thinking already, and we got to get you on for one of our trivia nights. We do trivia night here once a month. We got to get you on some night, play some wrestling trivia with us.
Oh, I'm gonna embarrass myself, or I might impress myself. Actually,
actually, we've heard this story before too. Our friend James Shaw in New Zealand told us he was going to embarrass himself, but he ended up picking up some points that night. He did pretty good. So, I think it's fair. And I do my best to gear some of the questions so that the people on screen have at least one or two that they can get in there, so that nobody scores a zero. So, yeah. But while we're doing that, I've got Tigger on the screen. I got your social media on there, so let people know where they can reach out to you, what you got coming up for matches and bookings and everything, or where they can reach out if they would like to book you on an upcoming.
So Instagram, I'm at the Ikuro Kwan. Twitter, or X, I can't call it X, it's crazy. But X, I'm also at the _Ikuro Kwan. You're gonna August 9th, MLW is presenting the Opera Cup for round 1. It's me versus Mystico. September 13th in Dallas. We have Fightland. Kind of know what I'm doing. Kind of want it to be a surprise, so we're gonna see. Expect the unexpected, September 28th in Ridgefield Park, New Jersey. It's a show. It's actually they gave a show to these guys, the Killionaires. They gave them a show. It's called I Really Mean That. So they don't like me too much, or my group, so they're probably going to give us some hell. But we got Alec Price last show. He decided, he saw the light, came over this way. So we'll be getting things cooking up with him. If you want to watch back the last show of ETU, it's on IWTV. You can watch me versus Matt Mikowski in a test of heart match. It was a very hard-hitting match. Basically, what that match is, we kind of had a disagreement about who the leader is, and it's known now. So definitely check that out. So thank you guys very much again for this whole opportunity. This is always the coolest thing in the world, being able to chop it up with you guys and talk wrestling in life, man.
It's a blast. Bob Smokes, it's your turn now. Cost me some money. There's that beautiful Tigger of yours down below. Tell the people where they can find you.
All right, Munson. I can always be found Thursday nights on Ole Podcasts and Video Bros Network on Ring Respect Radio, the very podcast you're watching right now. I can also be found on X at smokes_papa. Also on Twitch at papa_smokes_.
There you go. That's Papa Smokes. As for myself, Bobby Munson, my credentials down below across all of my social media. You can find me, reach out to me anytime. As for what I got coming up for shows, tomorrow night, you're going to be able to catch myself and Asher giving our full review of the brand new I Know What You Did Last Summer reboot, requel, whatever we want to call it. We'll give you the full details on the show tomorrow here on the channel. Then, of course, on Sunday, you're going to be able to join me and the boys 11 a.m. Eastern time for Point of View, where we're talking the week in sports. We're going to be talking about those banger semifinals matches from the Women's European Cup tournament, heading on into the final with England taking on Spain. It's going to be absolutely phenomenal, so stay tuned for that. And, of course, we talked about it a little bit on the show tonight. We've been talking about it for weeks. This coming weekend, yes, tomorrow night and Saturday night, PPW is the talk of the town. We are going to be live at Beer Wars YXC. You can join us tomorrow night. 8 p.m. is bell time. If you want to check out our social media, there is a phone number to call for tickets. We're not handling the tickets ourselves, but you can get seated tickets for admission to the event. If you're just going to be standing, drinking beer and having a good old time, that's absolutely free of charge. So come check out some free wrestling and buy some beer while you're at it. Buy some merch. That's the big thing. Buy merch from the wrestlers at the show. Support local indie wrestling as much as possible. But we're back on Saturday night as well, too. Same bell time. And if that's not your jam, you can also join us for a 1-hour introduction at the Saskatoon Berries baseball game Saturday afternoon, starting at 4:30 to 5:30. Check it out. Maybe, just maybe, the Berries mascot can get in there and give a clothesline to El Asesino. We'll find out this coming Saturday. But you've been watching us here on OLE Podcast. We're available across all social media as well as YouTube and Twitch. If you like what you saw, give us a subscribe here on YouTube, thumbs up, turn on the notification bell, and leave us a comment in the comment section. But that's going to be it for this week on Ring Respect Radio. Thank you to our guest, Tristan Tai, Ikuro Kwan, for being here. We really appreciate it. We will not wait 3 years for the next one. Take care, everybody. We'll see you next Thursday night.
Let's go. Yo, I'm like an addict. Do I gotta have it.